the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Welcome to the second annual Cherry Bowl. This afternoon, featuring the University of Maryland Terrapins against the Orange Men of Syracuse. Cherry Bowl 2 is being brought to you by General Motors, the GM Odyssey, science, not fiction. By Buick and your Buick dealers. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buicks. By Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. Yes, Michigan. Great vacations and innovation. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Hi, everybody, and a happy holiday season to you, wherever you may be, from the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. I'm Ray Lane, along with Jim Brandstetter. And, Jim, today we take a look at Eastern football in the way of Maryland, 8-3 during the regular season, and Syracuse University with a record of 7-4, and Maryland with power on the offense.
Yeah, Ray, if you have seen National Football League football, then you've seen Maryland. They're a power team. They're very strong, and they have a drop-back quarterback named Stan Gelbo who has a tremendous arm.
And if you're a Syracuse defense, how do you cope with it?
Well, if you're a Syracuse defense, you cope with it the way they can, and they can with quickness. The Syracuse Orangemen may have the quickest defense in the country, and that's one way to negate power football is with quickness.
And taking a look at the Orangemen right now, going out there, talking about the Orangemen, they've got quickness on their offense.
They do have quickness on their offense. An option attack, right, with Don McPherson leading the way, a quarterback, lightning quick. And again, you've got the idea of a big, strong, tough defense. The way to beat that is with a quick offense, and that's what McPherson runs.
And we shall find out very shortly. We'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment. Back at the Silverdome, and a look at some of the matchups in today's Cherry Bowl game between Syracuse University and the University of Maryland. Syracuse, with its best record since 1967, is led by quarterback Don McPherson, who took control of the Orangemen 4 games into the season and proved to be an outstanding leader. Wide receivers Mike Siano and Scott Schwedes have been favorite targets all year. Schwedes is also one of the nation's leading punt returners. Place kicker Don McAuley has been the scoring leader for the past 3 years. On defense, the Orangemen have blanked 3 opponents that were ranked 4th nationally against the run. Co-captains Tim Green and Rudy Reed have led the defense, with Green a consensus All-America tackle and Rhodes Scholar candidate. The Maryland Terrapins have 6 players named to the All-Atlantic Coast Conference team, and J.D. Marlavelle named to the Kodak All-America team. Fullback Rick Badanek, who has led the Terrapins in 47 consecutive games, has scored a career of 49 touchdowns. Wide receiver Azizadin Abdur-Ruoff has caught a pass in 23 consecutive games. Quarterback Stan Gelbaugh broke Boomer Esiason's season passing and total offensive record, while leading Maryland to an 8-3 record. On defense, the Terps are led by guard Bruce Mesner, linebacker Chuck Bassett, and the Covington brothers, Al and Keita, in the secondary. And you know, all in all, the most critical matchup may be between the coaches, Dick McPherson of Syracuse and Bobby Ross of Maryland, in today's Cherry Bowl. We'll have the starting lineup for you in just a moment. Just had the flip of the coin, and the Orangeman of Syracuse has won the toss of that coin. And Dick McPherson, of course,
everybody here
is very happy, and you can hear him a last-minute pep talk for his Orangeman, who finished the regular season at 7-4. Came in here on Monday, began practicing, and says it's a great honor to be at Cherry Bowl number 2. We have something still to prove. We'd like to make that proof against Maryland.
I'll tell you, against Maryland, they'll have a good chance to prove it. Let's hear Dick McPherson talk to his team.
Be with us today, okay, baby? Yeah. Let's get it going. Kickoff return team right here. Kickoff return. Let's go.
Right now.
Here we go. Kickoff return.
Ray, I'd say there's some intensity going on in that huddle of the Syracuse Orangemen. They want to prove themselves. They want to prove to the rest of the nation that they're a good football team, and against Maryland, they can.
On the other side over there, Maryland getting ready here as a starting lineup now. Brodsky at left tackle, offensive-wise for Syracuse. Whitaker, the left guard, a good, strong senior. Leibel at center. He's another senior. Tommy Watson, number 62 at that right guard position, and Marone at the right tackle. Jim Tate, the tight end, a fine, good, strong blocker. And going back to receive the kickoff right now, the two deep men for Syracuse Universities. Swady's back there. Here's Don McPherson when we go on for that first down. The quarterback, Robert Drummond, the running back, Roland Grimes at fullback. For the Orangemen, Ciano, one of the fine receivers, and the other man with lots of speed, Swady. Paredes will kick it off for Maryland. Drummond and Kane will be back deep for Syracuse. Paredes, a young man who was also their field goal kicker. And then after the fourth game, that game against Michigan, gave it up and turned it over to a freshman. Short kick taken at the 15-yard line and brought up to around the Syracuse 23-yard line. And Scott in there to make the tackle for the Terrapins. Talking about that Terrapins defense, a good, strong one that weighs in about 258 pounds. Shankweiler, the linebacker on the left side. Ted Chapman, defensive tackle, also on the left side. Mesner, the left guard in that forward wall. Arnold supports him on the right side. And Scott Tye on the outside, the right tackle. 1st and 10. And on the carry, Drummond breaks it wide open. Gets up close to the 42-yard line on the first play from scrimmage. Brought down by Keita Covington. 18 yards on the carry.
Big play for the Syracuse Orangemen. I think they crossed Maryland up a little bit. McPherson, the quarterback, is an option quarterback. This is an option football team. And on the first play from scrimmage, take a look. You'll see Syracuse go to power football, power sweep. Good block by the fullback Grimes on the lineman, and there is Drummond through the hole. Power football, no decision or no deception involving the option.
1st and 10 at the 42 of the Orangemen of Syracuse. McPherson, the quarterback. Drummond and Grimes, his running backs, wants to pass right away and comes right over the middle to Ciano into Maryland territory, brought down at the 40-yard line, and so the first pass of the afternoon, 17 yards, brought down by Covington and Brown. The rest of that defense for Maryland, Fawcett, the linebacker, inside. Pettibone, another inside linebacker for the Terrapins. Keita Covington on the corner, the left halfback. Donald Brown, his counterpart on the right side. And the safety is Al Covington, brother of Keita. So Syracuse on two quick plays, a running play and a passing play, moving down into Maryland territory. 1st and 10 over the middle, and completed off the hands of the tight end Tate. And then as it goes down to the air for a 14-yard gain, Fawcett brings down Ciano, who was at the right place at the right time.
The game plan of Dick McPherson, the head coach of Syracuse, really is mixing up Maryland on defense. They have gone with a power sweep, then they come with two straight drop-back passes. No play action at all, and I'm sure Maryland prepared defensively for a lot of option. And so far, Syracuse hasn't given them it at all.
At the Maryland 26-yard line, 4th play for the line of scrimmage, 1st and 10 for the Orangemen of Syracuse. Hands it off to his fullback, Grimes, going straight ahead, close to the 20-yard line, may mark it down at the 21. Pettibone and Fawcett, the linebackers inside, making the stop.
First option look we've seen from Syracuse as they come out offensively, and you can see how Maryland really is trying to adjust on the fly here in this first series.
Mark it at the 20, just outside the 20-yard line, and call it 2nd down and 5. So Syracuse on a quick opening play that time, picking up 5 yards on the carry by Grimes. A little mix-up that time. McPherson makes a tackle, breaks it, and gets inside the 15-yard line. A little luck that time as he and Grimes had a slight collision, eluded the tackle and moved inside the 15-yard line to mark it at the 13.
That's just a great play by that young man, Don McPherson. You see, what they're trying to do defensively is they try to make McPherson make the decision early. There is the big defensive tackle that he actually hits the first option, the fullback play. But what happened was McPherson was able to pull that ball out, make some yardage on his own. They want to stop that fullback.
Fullback again. Grimes busting 2, 3 intended tacklers inside the 5-yard line. Really eating up the real estate. Not a first down, but inside the Maryland 5. And so for Syracuse, 6 plays, 4 first downs, and knocking on the door for a touchdown.
The Maryland defense, wide tackle 6, is susceptible inside because they're so outside conscious. There you saw Fawcett, number 11, really skating outside. They give the ball to Grimes, and he just clears in the area that Fawcett vacates.
Shankweiler and Keita Covington coming in on that tackle to prevent the touchdown. Chris Barnes, back up fullback, checks in now, and they go to a T formation in behind McPherson. Second, and maybe picking up a yard at the most that time to try to power slant to the right, and brought down by Al Covington.
Now there you see the power of the Maryland football team. They're much bigger and they're stronger than the Syracuse squad. But Syracuse is quicker. But there is an indication of what power can do for you. That was a power sweep by Syracuse from the T formation, and the big people from Maryland got there, and there was nothing for the running back to get to the end zone.
I mark it at the 3-yard line. 3rd down and 1 for the first down, and 3 yards away for a touchdown. Again, that strong T formation in behind McPherson. And trying to roll out, tripped on the artificial turf and goes down at the 9-yard line. Looked like the bootleg after faking it to his fullback and trying to swing to the left. Couldn't do it, lost his footing back to the 9.
It looked like the play had worked. You got misdirection. And now Brian Alston is coming on a blitz, number 60. Here's the misdirection, and it looks like it might work because they're wanting to throw it to Tate, number 88, but McPherson falls down. Alston coming on the blitz was there anyway. Now they'll go for the 3 points with McCauley.
All right, back at the 15-yard line, a 25-yard attempt. McCauley in there to try for the field goal. He has the distance and right on the mark. And right through the uprights with 10:27 to go. Syracuse on the move and striking for the first score of the afternoon at Cherry Bowl 2 by taking the lead of 3-0 over Maryland. And the Orangemen really made it look easy. Syracuse 3, Maryland nothing with 10:27 to go in the first quarter. We'll be right back.
Buick, the automobile renowned for bigger, proudly presents Better.
Wouldn't you? It's a better day, yeah. Wouldn't you? Better thing to say, yeah. Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick? You're getting more out of life. You're getting more out of play. Give you a challenge and you're on your way. Wouldn't you? Move it up in style, yeah. Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
Well, prior to today's game, Tim Green, number 72, that fine defensive tackle for Syracuse, everybody's All-American, was presented the Academic All-American Award from GTE today. Making the presentation, Max Preston, the Vice President and General Manager of the Midwestern Telephone Operations of GTE. And, of course, that award by the wonderful organization of the Sports Information Directors of America, the College Sports Information Directors.
Keita Covington deep for the Maryland Terrapins to receive the kick of the Syracuse Orangemen.
Tim Vesely, number 17, handling the kickoff duties here. And Keita steps to the 1-yard line and brings it out for Maryland. Gets up to the 20, finds some daylight. Plenty of daylight as he finally run out of bounds to the far side of the field. Right around the 34-yard line, a 33-yard return, and it was Mangrum who ran him out of bounds. Well, on that scoring drive by Syracuse, they covered 68 yards in 9 plays, taking 4:33 off the clock.
Take a look at the wedge. Covington gets up right behind it and then sees a good move to the outside, makes a great move there to avoid one man, and then just struggles to get as much as he can, but he got it out over the 30. Good field position for the Terps.
Stan Gelbach, of course, the quarterback for Maryland, hands off now to Blunt. And he drives up close to the 40-yard line, the running back of Maryland. The young man who has had a great season and carrying a 4.8 average on the ground. We talked about it, Jim, when we came on the air. He collected 6 yards on that carry of great power from this Maryland offensive unit.
They got a big offensive line, and I think what Syracuse is going to have to do is try to out-quick them a little bit.
Badanek and Blunt, the running backs. Badanek, the fullback, found a little daylight in between guard and tackle on the left side. And with that good power that he has, and averaging 4.4 carry, upset by Rudy Reed, the linebacker.
One of the key matchups to watch today, a pair of number 72s. 72 on offense for Maryland. Tony Edwards against 72 Tim Green, the defensive tackle for the Syracuse Orangemen. On that play, it was Edwards getting the victory, you speak, in one play over Green because they got the first down by Badanek.
Maryland's first down of the afternoon. Ball at the Maryland 45-yard line. Gelball faking to his tailback and looking for a receiver. Goes over the middle, and he's got him. And down into Syracuse territory, Abdurrah coming through with the reception of 24 yards, brought down by Marcus Paul and Jerome Hall.
You give Stan Gelbaugh enough time to set his feet, and he's going to hurt you. Little play action holds the linebackers, but look, Gelbaugh sits in there lots of time, fires it right down the middle in the seam of that zone, crossing pattern to Raouf.
First down at the 31-yard line of Syracuse. Maryland coming right back now on the move and a couple of plays down in the Syracuse territory, 1st and 10. Using Holder in motion now, coming to the narrow side of the field. And the tailback carrying and going out of bounds as Alvin Blunt carrying that ball and trying to get outside. Talking about that Maryland starting lineup, a good strong lineup, big offensive line. Tony Edwards, the tackle on the left side. Lynn Lynch at guard on the left side. Over the ball, Bill Hughes, the center. Dave Amon, also the center, getting the starting call today. George Colton, the right guard. Kodak All-American Marleville at right tackle, and the tight end Farrell Edmonds. 5 yards on that carry. So it's 2nd down and 5. Blunt on the carry, a lot of daylight right over the middle, inside the 20-yard line, close to the 17-yard line, 9 yards on the carry. And Rudy Reed making the stop. There's Messner.
Bruce Messner, the big Maryland defensive tackle. Maryland doing a good job stopping Syracuse on defense down close. Messner had a big part to do with it.
The quarterback of Maryland, Stan Gelball. He's had a great season for the Terrapins. The running back, Blunt. Badanek, bruising fullback. Raouf, of course, Abdul Raouf, a wide receiver. Holder, the other wide receiver. Straight ahead by Badanek on the carry close to the 15-yard line. On a 1st and 10 situation. And gets possibly 2 yards on the carry. Brought down by Tim Pigeon, the linebacker.
Alvin Blunt, 3 carries for 20 yards so far in the game, as Maryland pretty much what we expected offensively, powering that football up through the middle, and they don't want to do much deception against this quick Syracuse defense. They'd rather just blast them off the ball, and so far they have.
Abdul Raouf, the wide receiver on the right side. Little power, they use that Holder in motion. Now, no, the tight end in motion that time. On the carry, Blunt. Little misdirection, cross play coming through. And enough for, no, not quite enough for the first down. Maybe a yard away. Marcus Paul drove him out of bounds. The Terrapins of Maryland. One of the featured teams here at Cherry Bowl number 2. Their mascot.
They use 93 Edmonds in motion. He comes by and look at just power blocking, and they wait. The back Blunt waits till he sees a natural hole develop. They're not really doing a lot. They're just staying on those blocks, and when Blunt sees the hole develop, he jumps through it.
At the 8-yard line, a 3rd and 1. And a little movement. No timeout called by Syracuse, so the Orangemen want to get things adjusted if they can. And while they do, I'll remind you the score with 7:38 to play here in the first quarter. Syracuse 3, Maryland nothing. besides the interior part of that 3-forward wall on defense for Syracuse, was Tim Pigeon, the linebacker, moving up and filling the hole.
Well, one of the reasons we saw the picture of Al Covington putting those sleeves on his arm is that Maryland plays on natural grass in their home stadium. And in the tartan turf here at the Pontiac Silverdome, what you have is when you're running down there and you slide on a turf like this, you'll get a carpet burn, and your elbows can get chewed up pretty well. So they actually put socks all the way up and down their arms to help prevent from getting those carpet burns on your elbows.
Takes a toll after a while. Just ask the pros that use it here.
Well, one of the keys is that if you play on it all season long, you know how to fall and you know how to avoid some of those carpet burns. But when you don't play on it, you're playing on natural grass, you're not really used to it.
First and goal, a first down for Maryland. First and goal at the 7-yard line of Syracuse. And punt again inside the 5, close to the 3-yard line. Pigeon in there to make the stop along with Rudy Reed.
Straight power football, and on the goal line, Maryland will look a lot like an NFL team in that they'll put a tight end on a wing-back position, bring him across the formation in motion, and use him as a blocking back, get an extra blocking back to the side that they want to run. We'll see a lot of that from Maryland if they're on the goal line today.
Block with 6 carries for a total of 31 yards. That ball is marked at the 4-yard line, so second down and goal from the Syracuse 4. And Gelbaugh rolling out. And he's in for the score. Gelbaugh looking as if he wanted to pass. Maybe Jimmy had the option on that kind of play and found nobody open.
Well, what he did is they go out to the outside on the option, and with the play action fake inside, they held the outside linebacker. That put Marcus Paul, the safety, in a real pickle because he had the tight end. Gelbaugh will roll out. Here it is. Play action. Linebackers held, the inside backers held, the outside backers held. Now Marcus Paul, number 10, has got to cover the tight end. Gelbaugh fakes the pass. Paul went back to cover him, and that opened the lane for Gelbaugh to get in the end zone.
Dan Blocky, number 3, stepping in there to try for the extra point. He is 20 for 20 since taking over the kicking duties, the field goals, and the place kicking. Dan Henning, backup quarterback holding. And Blocky's kick hitting the bar, and he has missed his first point after of the 1985 collegiate season after coming on in the 5th game. So Maryland moves 66 yards in 10 plays and goes out in front by a score of 6-3 over Syracuse. And we'll have that kickoff coming your way in just a moment. Don't go away. The Terrapins up by 3, 6-3 over Syracuse. Remind you, coming up on January 4th, that's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mizzlou and USA, presenting the East-West Classic. Tommy Kane on a kickoff, returning it for Syracuse for 16 yards, and gets it over the 25-yard line at the 26.
Take a look at the touchdown, and Maryland gets in. Play action is what really did it. There's the play action. The outside linebacker to that side that Gelbaugh's rolling to took the fake. And then with a tight end, Edmonds, in the secondary, it really put Marcus Paul in a bind because he had to get back and cover him.
First and 10 at the 26-yard line. They got movement all over the field. And Syracuse, let's a quick look at Gregory.
He's the starting middle guard. Ted Gregory looks like he's got a problem with the right knee. Starting middle guard for the Syracuse Orangemen. Looks like he'll be watching this one because his knee's already in a cast, one of those Velcro fiberglass casts. He's backed up by David Fraze.
Illegal procedure on the offense. First down.
So against Syracuse, the first penalty of the afternoon, marched back to the 21-yard line. First down at 15. Don McPherson wants to go to the air. A little swing pass down. And going no place was Drummond, brought down in a hurry by Don Brown coming in there. And a 3-yard loss.
Scott Ty also got over there, Ray, and I want you to know he did a great job of reading the keys. The back goes over there immediately, but Ty, the defensive tackle, has responsibility for the screen. There he is. He gets out there, gets a hand on the running back, and down he goes. Good read, good scouting, obviously, by the Maryland coaches.
Ty all the way on that tackle. Second down and 18 for Syracuse. And the option that time for Don McPherson, working a little bit as he brings it up to the 25-yard line. At the bottom of the pile, Walker, the backup linebacker, Kevin Walker.
That's where most of the option plays, it appears, against Maryland are going to be open. McPherson's going to have to break that ball back up inside. Maryland with that wide tackle 6, very outside conscious. He's going to have difficulty getting that ball out to the pitchback because there's so many people wide in this defense.
Third down and 11. McPherson getting some pretty good protection, almost intercepted over there. It was Walker again getting his hands up. The intended receiver, Schwades, and no go. So we have our first punt of the afternoon coming up at Cherry Bowl number 2. Syracuse to punt it away with Jim Fox going back in the punt situation. Keita Covington, the lone back for Maryland, standing around his 32-yard line. Covington averaging 6.5 yards on punt returns during the regular season. And Fox with that 41-yard average booms it down around the 23-yard line. Keita breaks one tackle and then gets up to around the 32. 52 yards punt and bringing it back about the 25. We'll be right back with Maryland leading Syracuse. Offensive coordinator, of course, working on some last-minute instructions for that next series of downs for his quarterback, Don McPherson. Meanwhile, Gelbaugh and the Terps going on offense. At around the 33-yard line, first and 10. Maryland leading 6-3. We're in the opening quarter. Gelbaugh faking the handoff to his tailback and over the middle to his tight end. And Edmonds hauls it down for a 21-yard gain.
The key to any pass protection or any pass play that's complete is the fact that you give the quarterback time. Here's Gelbaugh, straight drop back, little play action, didn't hold linebackers too much. Held them just enough because Edmonds was able to get out behind the linebacker right there. Gelbaugh with that big arm just dropped it down to him for a big gainer.
We're talking about the power and the power running, of course, of Maryland during the regular season. Gelbaugh, about a 53% passer during the regular season, so he can get the job done through the air. Adding that time to his tailback, Tommy Neal on the first carry of the afternoon and brought down by the All-American Tim Green.
Tommy Neal's had some injury problems this season. That's why Alvin Blunt's played a lot, but Neal had a left knee ligament strain, and it really hampered him all season long. There you look at Timmy Green, Rhodes Scholar candidate, All-American, one of the quickest defensive tackles you'll see in collegiate football.
You look at the Syracuse defensive films and tapes, you marvel at the speed. Second down and 8 for Maryland. At the 44 of Syracuse. Badanik, jolting tackle. Badanik just about getting back to the line of scrimmage. And a real hit put on by Pigeon, and Kimmel also in there.
You talk about the speed of Timmy Green and Pigeon. Watch Edwards against Green, key matchup. Green angles down, he's blocked, but look at the ability of Green to get through this block and fight toward the tackle. There he is. I'll tell you, Timmy Pigeon and Tim Green, both of them right there making great plays on that fullback.
Third down and 8 for Maryland, still at the 44-yard line of Syracuse. Davis in motion. And Gelbaugh going to Joins on the pass. Joins the backup split end that they brought in on that play. His first reception of the afternoon. Needed 8 yards, picked up 7, about a yard short.
The key to the Syracuse defense against the dropbacks got to be a rush. Here's the quickness once again of Timmy Green working on Edwards. Green gets by. Now this is where Gelbaugh's aware of these people are on his back. Now if they do that a few more times to Stan Gelbaugh, I guarantee that they will not be doing a lot of passing in the straight dropback. He'll start rolling out.
Need a yard. 55-yard attempt on the field goal. Blocky's kick is way short and off to the right. So Blocky trying for a long field goal that time, and the effort was way short. So the score remains with 2:17 here to go in the first quarter. Maryland up by 3, 6-3 over Syracuse.
Asking Clocky to kick that 55-yarder at this point. What you're doing.
And the pitch to the tailback that time, Drummond. And Drummond crossing the 45-yard line. His own 45. Covington, Al Covington in there, along with Mesner.
The formation is what helped that play get outside. What they did is they split the tight end Tate into a slot position on the line of scrimmage about halfway down the field. They had Shankweiler out there.
Well, we got plenty of action coming up this evening, 8 o'clock Eastern Time for the Independence Bowl. Clemson taking on the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Hope you'll join us. Second down, and a couple of yards needed. Close to the first down. On the carry, Grimes, the fullback. Keep in mind, with the Syracuse offense in the running game, the leading ground gainer was Don McPherson. And Grimes gets the first down for Syracuse. Before the regular season, Don McPherson, who picked up just shy of 500 yards, bested his other running backs in total yards gained. And so he's sort of a do-it-all type of quarterback.
He's the catalyst to the option attack. If McPherson goes well, Syracuse offensively will go well.
At the 48-yard line, Syracuse on 48. First downs are all even, 5 apiece. And McPherson getting pressure from Mesner, got away from him, reverses the field, and into Maryland territory. Brought down by Wayne Brunson, the tackle on the left side. 8 yards for all that work.
Well, there's an indication of how outside conscious the Maryland defense is. McPherson goes on a rollout to the left, and he does not break contain. There is no way that he's going to get outside. But he's got the athletic ability and the quickness to get back the other way. Avoids Messner, avoids Fawcett. Now he's got some blockers out here. That was an option runner pass anyway, so there's no eligible receivers downfield. That's what makes McPherson so dangerous.
McPherson comes over to talk with his coach, and one of the Maryland Terrapins, Mesner, number 83, Bruce Mesner, the young man out of Harrison, New York, having a little problem with that right leg. Might be an ankle or knee. Speaking of the ankle, McPherson on Tuesday at practice here at the Silverdome turned his ankle, a slight sprain, but says he's okay. Meanwhile, Mesner is not.
Mesner's replacement is Robert Klein, number 67, so Maryland's pretty deep. And they've got big people. They can fill in, do a good job. They've had some injuries this season. 3 of their losses coming at the hands of Michigan, Miami, and Penn State. Those are 3 of the top 4 teams in the country. So Maryland can play with just about anybody.
Bobby Ross completing his 4th year of the Terrapins. 8-3 marks each season that he has been the head coach there, and the last 3 running the ACC title. Schweddy's the wide receiver, split wide on the left. Flags are down on the 2nd and 2 situation at the 43 of Maryland. Motion by Syracuse. And they'll march it back.
Both coaches said during the week, Ray, and I think it's probably something coaches say every time they get ready to play a football game, is the fact that they cannot afford mistakes in big games. Syracuse with 2 penalties for 10 yards so far. Here is the illegal motion play as both guards were moving. Maybe the center snapped that ball a little too early also, but it was ruled illegal procedure. So Syracuse puts himself in a little bit of a hole. 2nd down and 7.
Don Bauer, our referee, who had marched it back now to the 48-yard line of Maryland. 2nd and 7. And McPherson going to Schweddy's. Schweddy's holds it in at the 43-yard line, and Keita Covington over there to make the hit on him.
Good reaction back up to the ball by Schweddy's. A very quick hitch pattern where Schweddy's drives Covington off the ball as much as he can. Take a look. He'll just go downfield and drive the cornerback off and pull up very quickly. And a quick out. McPherson delivers the ball, but here's where the defense makes it. The reaction up by Covington. That's quickness, and that's what they've got to have against Schweddy's, because he's about the fastest player that Syracuse has.
And that was the last play of the first quarter. So we get all set for the second period. Maryland on top, 6-3. 3rd and 2 at the 43. of Maryland. Syracuse trying to push for that first down. Will be their 6th if they can get it. McPherson hanging on to the ball, faking to his fullback, and has the first down inside the Maryland 40, close to the 38-yard line of the Terrapins.
McPherson making a good read on that. Again, Maryland with that wide tackle 6. They're just taking away everything outside. McPherson comes down the line of scrimmage and sees how they're skating outside. He's just going to follow the fullback right through the hole. He knows he only needs 2 yards, but the inside is a little bit more vulnerable in this wide tackle 6.
So Syracuse has collected their 6th first down of the afternoon, trailing 6-3. And McPherson getting some good blocking, at least temporarily, now scampering for his life. And coming cross field, a dangerous pass. Sweeney's makes the reception. Somehow he got up on the air and beat the 2 defenders. One was Al Covington. What a catch.
That's exactly what it was a great catch. You can't really say anything about the pass other than the fact that McPherson had Schwades open right about now. He didn't see him, and then he was getting the big rush from Scott Tye. Here's a very ill-advised pass. Throwing it over the middle, up for grabs, but look at the athletic ability of Schwades. Up with Covington, and he comes down with a football instead of Covington. That's just a great catch by a receiver.
Well, he beat both the Covingtons that time, Al and Keita. Schwades now, a couple of catches for 15 yards. First down and 10, the 7th first down for Syracuse. At the 28-yard line. McPherson with his trailer, he'll keep it all the way. And brought down by Brown. Close to the first down.
Look at the option. This time he's able to get outside. Look at Tye, number 56. He gets logged in. Good block there. When McPherson saw that, he knew the pitchback was taken, and he turned it upfield. Good job by McPherson, reading the end of the line of scrimmage defensive man in the option. He's got to do that. When he saw Tye get blocked, turned it upfield outside of him. He had good yardage.
And has a first down by inches. We are told that McPherson, who has carried the ball 6 times for 29 yards, does not wear knee pads, does not wear the knee pads. If they are, they're the light variety.
On the artificial surface, that's brave.
And you can see him walking up there, and they're cut just at the kneecap.
Now, those are truly knickers.
Yep. You wear those kind for golf, don't you? Huh?
A little baggier.
First and 10 at the 17. McPherson wants to go to the air. He took a look at Schwades, couldn't find him open. Comes back to Ciano at the 10-yard line and ruled catch at the 10. 7-yard gain on the pass. Keita Covington over there to cover.
Now you can see the difficulty that a coach has putting a defensive game plan in against a quarterback like McPherson. McPherson play action comes back here on the pass. Straight drop back, rather. He gets a big rush coming right at his face from Chapman. Quick move, he's out of his way. Gets a block, buys some time. Ciano, great receiver that he is, sees the quarterback in trouble, comes back, makes the catch.
McPherson 6 for 7, busts it open this time on a carry, and that was Robert Drummond from Jamesville, New York, who found plenty of daylight, cut it back a little bit, and went in for the score.
You saw it. The cutback is what made the play. Again, Maryland's wide tackle 6, very outside conscious. They will not allow you to break contain. What that does, though, is that will open up the middle after a play develops.
Drummond on a carry, who had 3 touchdowns during the regular season on the ground, and collects his 4th of the season on the ground. McGauley back there to try for the extra point. He is 29 for 29. And the kick is good. So Syracuse, and we talked about maybe a high-scoring ball game, comes right down and gets the extra point behind the touchdown with 10:53 to go in the second quarter. Syracuse leading Maryland by a score of 10-6. 10-6, Syracuse on top. We get all set to go here with 12:53 remaining in the first half. And Drummond with that 10-yard gallop now has carried 3 times for 37 yards. Keita Covington back deep, standing around his 5-yard line. Wesley approaching that ball and kicking off for Syracuse. Good kick down about 4 yards deep into the end zone, and Keita elected not to bring it out. So the touchback, and Maryland will bring it out to the 20-yard line to start the line of scrimmage.
You look at the way this game is progressing, Ray, and I think you got to have Maryland offensively get things going, because Syracuse appears to have the idea, the option working against the Maryland defense. So I believe we will have some points scored today. We're already at 10-6, and we're just into the second quarter. But I'm surprised a little bit at the Syracuse offense moving the ball so well against Maryland defensively.
Gelbaugh looking over that defense. 1st and 10 at his own 20-yard line for Maryland. Time for catch-up for the Terrapins. Badanek and Blunt, the running backs in there, and Blunt on the carry. Might have got a yard. Boy, you talk about the quickness of the Orangemen's defense, and they closed it up in a hurry on the right side that time.
The play from Maryland was slow to develop. They pulled the big tackle, J.D. Marleveld, and brought him all the way around behind the line of scrimmage as a trap blocker, and the play took too long to develop. Syracuse is so quick, led by Rudy Reed and Tim Pigeon and Timmy Green. They're able to get to the football. You got to have quick hitters against quick teams.
2nd and 9 for Maryland at the 21-yard line, the road 21. Gelbaugh, and going deep. He's got his tight end open. The second reception by Farrell Edmonds, right down the middle for 35 yards and right into Syracuse territory at the 44.
Nothing fancy about the pattern. 2 wide receivers run straight down the field. Edmonds just releases inside the linebacker and splits the 2 safeties. Now here come the 2 safeties over to make it. Edmonds is able to do that because of his great speed.
Gelbaugh now 4 for 4 for a total of 87 yards. Farrell Edmonds in motion. Now moves over. He's the tight end on that left side, and you saw their wide receiver back up into the, almost a fumble there, and a tricky handling by Blunt. He managed to hang on to it, but Timmy Green says, no, it belongs to me in Syracuse. But I think they're going to rule it. It still belongs to Blunt.
All right, now you see the quickness of Timmy Green. He was to the side that play was running. He had Tony Edwards, the big tackle, on him, and Green just fought off the block, and literally, after he got rid of the block, was able to come 2 yards upfield and make the tackle.
In the backfield there, a loss. 2nd down and 13 to go. David Holmes checking in, and Pena checks out. So they have 5 defensive backs in for Syracuse on this 2nd and 13. Milling in motion for Maryland. Gelbaugh going this time to Eric Holder, the split end. Lined up on the right side, crossing the field to the far side and making the reception. 18-yard gain brought down by David Holmes, who just checked in.
Dangerous pass by Gelbaugh. Take a look at the linebackers, Pigeon and Reed. They're both now dropping back into their areas. Now watch Holder. He'll just come between them. Now Gelbaugh's got to use the strength of his arm and drill it between them. That's why Gelbaugh is such a great quarterback. He's got the big, strong arm to get it between linebackers.
Gelbaugh 5 for 5 for a total of 105 yards. 1st and 10 for Maryland. Blunt on the carry, breaks a tackle inside the 20, down to the 18. Bottom of the pile down there with Pigeon and Jeff Mangrum. But once showing some good speed.
And back to power football for the Terrapins. Just putting it on that big offensive line, saying, get me a hole. They did that time. Blunt was able to get through it.
Carried a total now of 9 times for 40 yards. 1st and 10 at the 18 of Syracuse. Blunt on the carry. Flag has gone down, weaving his way almost for a 1st down inside the 10-yard line, but a flag is down right around the 22. Tim Pigeon in there. Meanwhile, it's first aid time. Talking about skinned up knees and burns.
That's carpet burns. That'll do it. You also take a look at the brace there, number 41 Bullock for the Terrapins. See that knee brace? Those they're wearing when their knees are not in a problem. They don't have to be injured. Those are preventive knee braces that a lot of teams are using nowadays.
Offsides on a defense. Decline. 2nd down.
And back to the play, Ray. One thing Maryland is now trying to do is give the quickness of Syracuse some trouble by using misdirection. That's another way to help negate quickness. Misdirection. That play was used very well. Misdirection, pulling the big tackle against the flow and getting a block on the end of the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 2 from the 10-yard line. Badanek on the carry. Might have got inside the 5-yard line and driven back. And Cooper Gardner around the ankles that time. Had help from Marcus Paul. inside the 5 to the 4.
No misdirection on this one. Just take a look at the offensive line firing out. Edmonds gets a great block. There's the tight end. He knocks Pina back, and Badanek does a great job just bouncing it outside that block, running into the linebackers.
Linebackers moving quickly that time with a little help from the deep back moving in. First and goal now. Each team with 9 first downs. Blunt on a carry. Might have got 2 at the most, maybe 1. Tim Pigeon in there, plus a host of others for Syracuse. So Maryland knocking on the door, wants to lead back again. Combination of not only first aid, but defensive instructions for Maryland.
Just go ahead and hop over them this way.
Adjustments being made. That's Bob Arnold, number 99.
All right? This side of the field. All right? Yeah.
Blunt, 11 carries up to this point. 9th play in this drive by Maryland that started at their own 20 inside the 5-yard line of Syracuse. And wide open is Eric Holder, who makes the reception, beat his man into the corner. It was Tim Pigeon, who was coming back, the linebacker, but the touchdown pass going to Holder. Let's check it. They're going to call it Davis Knight. Knight, the tight end. Excuse me.
What it is Gelbaugh gets time here. Roll out play action, but Danek in front. Now he picks up the linebacker, and it is Chris Knight coming from that linebacker, from the tight end spot. He went inside fake to block, and that held linebackers again, then just headed toward the end corner of the end zone. He got open, and again, Gelbaugh did a great job throwing that ball in, dropping it in over the linebacker.
Maryland trying for the 2-point conversion. Pitch to Badanek. Found daylight. They got 2 the easy way. So the 4-yard touchdown pass and the 2-point conversion by Badanek, putting Maryland back up on top as the Terrapins marched 80 yards in 9 plays to go back out in front now. So it's 14-10 with 8:50 to go in the half.
Heard the news?
Syracuse, of course, play their home games at the Carrier Dome, feeling at home here at the Silver Dome at Pontiac, but right now not feeling at home with the score. Syracuse back deep with their kickoff return men of Kane and Drummond. And Kane taking the young man from Montreal, trying to get to his 20 and does so. Just getting across the 25-yard line and brought down by Smith of Maryland. 25 yards on the return. Total yards so far, Syracuse with 138 and Maryland with 176. Time as far as possession, pretty close. 10:37 for Syracuse, Maryland 10:33. And on that last scoring drive by the Terrapins, my apologies to the Chris Knight fans when I call the touchdown reception by Eric Holder. It belongs to Knight, his 2nd touchdown of the season. 1st and 10 for Syracuse. McPherson with that fake and then going out to the right side and completing it to Jim Tate. And Tate, the tight end, for a 14-yard gain.
Key to the play is the play action off the option look. Take a look. McPherson comes down the line of scrimmage. He will hold the linebackers with this fake to the fullback. Then it's a throwback pass. The tight end just releases off the ball, immediately gets in the open seam, and McPherson hits it. Well-designed play.
Facette and Al Covington there on the stop. 1st and 10 now at the Syracuse 40-yard line. Drummond on a carry and got about 6 yards on that carry.
Misdirection play in the backfield by the Syracuse Orangemen. A little reverse out by McPherson. The back jabs out, and when you're a defensive player, you're keying on a certain player. That back, Drummond, jabbed out and then came back the other way. That set up a blocking angle to take that linebacker.
Drummond stays in there. Grimes, the fullback, ahead of him in the I formation. Wide receiver split on the left side. And now Tate, the tight end, in motion. McPherson cuts it back now on the right side on that option play. Crosses the 50-yard line, moves into Maryland territory at the 49.
That's where that option play is going to be open until Maryland does something different. McPherson's going to be able to take that ball and cut it up inside the tackle because Maryland plays those tackles wide in the wide tackle 6. And they'll be skating outside to not allow Syracuse to break contain. When McPherson sees that, he's going to turn it upfield.
Robert Drummond checks out now at the halfback position for Syracuse, and Byron Abraham checks in, number 33. Seattle in motion, and now slots on the left side. Ian Streety's on the left side. McPherson rolls out of the pocket, trying to find somebody. Intended for his fullback, coming out of the backfield, Roland Grimes, and overshot him, incomplete, and Fawcett covering on the play for Maryland.
Good coverage by Fawcett. He had Grimes all the way and stayed right with him.
Dick McPherson completing his 5th year at Syracuse, and those last 3 have been winning years, and coming along this year with that 7-4 record. They want to upgrade the program. His defense this year with 3 shutouts to their credit. Quarterback story thus far: McPherson 7 for 9 for 66 yards. Gelbaugh of Maryland 6 for 6 for 109. The quarterback story. 7:08 to go in the first half, and McPherson going to Ciano and completed down to the 38-yard line of Maryland. Covering on the play, Kevin Walker, the interior linebacker. What a story on Ciano this year. With 46 catches to lead the way for a total of 852 yards, 12 career touchdown passes, the most ever by any receiver at Syracuse. First down for the Orangemen.
Little play action helped that play out. McPherson saw Syracuse coming in a blitz, knew he had to get rid of it in a hurry. Sean Scott was coming on the blitz, but he got caught up with a blocker on the outside, and McPherson had the time to find Ciano.
At the 38-yard line of Maryland, 1st and 10 Syracuse. Ciano, the guy that broke another pretty good receiver, Art Monk's record at Syracuse this year. Hands it to the fullback, Grimes, straight ahead with power that time, across the 35-yard line, close to the 34. And getting up from that bottom of that pile, the interior linebacker, Kevin Walker again on the tackle.
That's where the wide tackle 6 is vulnerable some, up the middle. Against Virginia in Maryland's last regular season game of the season, they used the fullback up the middle quite extensively and fairly successful.
Time ticking away here at the Silverdome of Pontiac, 6:11 remaining in the first half. Robert Drummond has checked back in as a halfback position for Syracuse. McPherson trapped in the left side, reverses the field, trying to find some daylight. Couple good moves, and he finds that daylight, gets it down close to the 27-yard line. 7-yard gain, scampering all the way. Bob Arnold finally hit him.
If McPherson made an audible call or checked into that play, he checked into the wrong play. The reason was they brought O'Brien Alston, who is their linebacker, to that side of the field on the line of scrimmage. And you just can't run it. There are too many people over there at that point to run an option. You don't have enough people to block them off. McPherson, though, showed his great athletic ability and quickness. He saw it wasn't there, turned around and went the other way and made something out of nothing.
Doing pretty good on the ground, let alone his passing today. Drummond has carried 7 times in the running position for 50 yards. Intercepted this time. And taken off by Shankwine, the linebacker. On that left side, the outside linebacker, almost as if it was intended to him. Didn't get it up high enough.
Didn't get it up high enough. The reason it didn't come up high enough is the fact that Maryland came with an all-out blitz, gambling, and that forced McPherson into a bad throw.
So here in the first half, 14-10. Maryland on top. They have it turned over to them. We have 5:20 left in this quarter. West Shrine Classic coming up on January the 11th at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll be looking for you.
Here's the interception, and Ray, it was an all-out blitz. You see McPherson hurrying that ball. Never saw Shankweiler, intended for Schwades.
1st and 10 for Maryland. And going over the middle. Oh, tremendous hit that time, intended for Tommy Neal. And he was greeted by Marcus Paul.
Maryland on first down, going with that pass that they hit Farrell Edmonds with earlier in the game. You can run it back out of the backfield down the middle to try to split the safeties or the tight end. You take a look at Gelbaugh. Lots of time, tries to drop it in. This time, though, the safeties are ready. In particular, Marcus Paul.
First incompleted pass for Gelbaugh this afternoon. He's 6 for 7. for 109 yards. Crunch time, no doubt about it, by the Syracuse defense that time. 2nd and 10 from the 32. Just straight power that time. Badanek on the carry, and you talk about the power of this one. And usually it's short yardages, but he got a couple of extra yards with that power of his.
He is built so low to the ground, he's able to get that ball and just run over people and run through tackles. This youngster, I'm sure, is looking around figuring maybe I'd like to play for one of these two clubs. Right now he's up on the big scoreboard here at the Silverdome, and he's a star and doesn't know it.
Maryland, 3rd and 2. They are 1 for 2 on 3rd down conversion so far this afternoon. Badanek trying to get outside and will not be able to do it. Forced back in that time by Pina, the outside linebacker.
There's your talking about quickness now. Take a look at Timmy Green. He is to the backside of the play. This play is going away from him. Look at Timmy Green fight off the double team and get in on the tackle. We're talking All-American, and we're talking playing a great football game right now.
Darrell Wright, number 9, back from Maryland with an average of a little bit over 39 yards. Schwede's back, deep man for Syracuse. And Maryland coming up with their first punt of the afternoon. Wright gets it away, and a good one. Backing up Schwede's close to his 10-yard line, right at the 10. Tries to come up the middle, can't do it. Good coverage, fumble! And touchdown for Maryland. Scott Tye right into his arms. And Tye, playing on the special teams, takes it in.
Big break for the Maryland Terrapins. Great coverage. You know, a lot of people talk about people getting breaks. Well, they're either breaks or mistakes, I say. This one was a mistake by Schwede's. Gets the ball. He's in traffic. Now, you've got to put the ball away when you're in traffic with people grabbing on. Here the ball will pop right free with Shankweiler making the fumble pause. And there's Scott Tye. Merry Christmas, Scott. Touchdown in the Cherry Bowl.
Well, just take it in for about 9 yards on that one. Blocky in to try for the extra point for Maryland. We're talking about the holiday flavor that time. They got it in a hurry. Now Blocky says they'll take a little timeout to get things together here. They had 10 men on the field, and that's it. Syracuse with a couple of timeouts remaining. Likewise for Maryland. Here in the half with 3:41 to go. But they hit that time coming through to really make the break. And Dick McPherson not too happy about it.
Scott Schwede's is probably one of the best punt returners in the business. Here he gets out of a jam that most people would go down in. But there you see Shankweiler, and he knows he's got a hand on the ball. Now he just tries to rip. He does, and there is Scott Tye able to get the football. Like I said, Merry Christmas, a gift for Maryland.
Schwede's back on the bench now, and a lot of thoughts going through about, I'd like to have that return over again. Scott Tye, the long snapper who just scored that touchdown and that fumble in midair, will snap the ball back to Henning. And Blocky to try for the extra point. And yes, good, no flags down with 3:41 to go in the first half. Maryland goes on top of Syracuse now by a score of 21-10. Yes, sir. Big afternoon for Scott Tye of Laurel, Maryland, who scored that touchdown for Maryland. They put him up thanks to the extra point now, 21-10. Time remaining in this first half. And with Kane and Drummond back deep, Paredes will kick it off for Maryland. Taken by Kane. And close to the 25. May mark it at the 24. Will wait till he unpiled. An 18-yard return. Sid Knorr coming in on a stop, and along with Anderson for Maryland on the special teams. Tommy Kane, freshman out of Montreal, Quebec. And now a job for Don McPherson to get his Orangemen going. And down 21-10 here with 3:35 to play in the first half. Tailback getting the ball that time, Drummond. And Drummond showing some good speed once he found daylight. And again, you talk about the adjustment looking for Maryland in the middle. It hasn't come yet, has it, Jeff?
No, it hasn't. They really haven't adjusted back from the middle. Maryland still conscious outside, worried about the option. Here it is, little trap block, 61 running through. Also, the fullback Grimes gets a good block on the linebacker. And Drummond is able to, Drummond's able to follow him right through the hole and get downfield good.
5 carries and a total of 59 yards. Close-up look at McPherson, the quarterback of the Orangemen, at the 40-yard line. And the reverse coming around is Sweetie. He's got a good block there, but not a lot to run with it on the narrow side of the field. But a tremendous block handed out by Brodsky, the tackle, and got one of the Terps coming in there trying to make a hit.
Even on a reverse, you saw how well-schooled Maryland is to not allow people to break contain. Everything's going to the right. Drummond gets the ball. Here's the pitch back to Schwades on the reverse. Now they react back. Good block by Brodsky coming right here, but still there's a man outside. That's O'Brien Alston. Does a good job. He doesn't actually keep contained, but he forces Schwades to pull up and make a move, which helped stop the play.
That was Warren Powers we saw get hit. McPherson with the first down, chased by Fawcett, breaks that tackle, gets inside the 35-yard line, loose ball, and a scramble for it. Keita Covington picking that ball up, flag down on the field. No.
The referees ruled that he was down.
He's down.
I believe.
That's right.
We'll have to wait and see. Right now, Maryland feels they should have the football, and now they overrule.
They get it.
And Maryland does get it. That's the second steal today by the Terrapins.
Covington winding up with that ball. They'll mark it back to the 35-yard line. Take another look at it, Jimmy.
McPherson gets outside the linebacker Fawcett. Now Covington comes in. Now watch, the right hand comes toward the ball. Okay, yeah, he gets the ball then, steals it away, has possession, but his knee is down. He cannot return the ball at that point, but it was a legal fumble. Maryland comes up with a big turnover again.
19 yards on the carry, and then turn it over to Keita Covington. 1st and 10 for Maryland. Slot to the right with their offensive unit. And this time handing it off to Blunt. Getting outside, gets you to the 39-yard line, their own 39. Brought down by Cooper Gardner and Rudy Reed.
I'm a nigga. Keisha Tear, I love you, baby.
Keita Covington.
Boys in the Ville.
Out of Danville, Virginia, a junior.
Wait a minute.
His 3rd fumble recovery of the season. 112 carries for a total of 53 yards for Maryland out of that running back position. Gelbaugh with a good fake and going deep down to the sideline. Almost intercepted. A little bit underthrown.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see who this interference call is on.
Intended for Milling, number 22. Flag down there right around the 20-yard line.
Good coverage by Lee on the play. You take a look at it yourself, make a decision. Gelbaugh going for it all, and the receiver and backer going for the ball at this point. Now, does the receiver back into the defender? Is there an interference call? The referee thinks there is. We'll wait and see who it's on, and it is on the defense, so Syracuse will take the 15-yard penalty. David Lee, defensive back, gets called for interference. That's an awful close call. Both players going for the football, I think, Ray.
Pass interference on a defense. First down.
First down, Don Bauer, a referee making the call. His group of officials today, Bruce Maher, the line judge, Louis Petrie, the back judge, James Shadd, the umpire, field judge's Job Hibner, David Neal, the alternate official in this crew, the linesman Max Schwartzel, and side judge Thomas Workman. 1st and 10 on the defense. That time against the 1st and 10 for Maryland at the 45 of Syracuse. Good pressure that time. Applied by Pena. And the pass really was lucky to get away.
That's one of the things that you've got to do against Gelbaugh. If you allow him to set his feet and throw that ball, I'll tell you, he's going to hurt you. But if you put pressure on him like Pena did there, he's not that good of a passer on the run. He's not as good as he is when he sets his feet. And that's what Syracuse has to do to stop some of this passing that Gelbaugh's done here for Maryland in the first half.
At the 45 of Syracuse, the story on Gelbaugh going to the air this afternoon. Holder Abdul Rauf on the left side. Rauf in motion. And found daylight in that seam at the 25-yard line. Abdul Rauf finally forced out of bounds by Tim Pigeon. Good for 25 yards.
And I think maybe there was a pattern broken on that because Farrell Edmonds was right there in the same area. Take a look at Rauf. Now he comes in motion. He will come all the way across the field. But the thing that makes this interesting is the fact that Edmonds is also in this. He's bringing more defenders to this area. There's Edmonds right there. And actually the man coming off Stanford to make that tackle was Edmonds' coverage man.
Maryland with a 1st and 10 at the Syracuse 20-yard line. Blunt on the carry. And a lot of daylight trying to get there. Goes touchdown, Maryland. Alvin Blunt scampering 20 yards for the score. And showing some pretty good moves on the way there. Got a good block from his split end, Eric Holder, to spring him loose from a would-be tackler. Also
got a great block at the point of attack by the offensive tackle over there to allow him to get through the hole. Downfield is where Holder makes the block. Watch number 81. He pushes Gardner right out of the play, and then Blunt made a good cut off of that, got into the end zone.
Blocky back for the try for extra point with 1:43 to go in the first half. Maryland on top now, 27-10. And Chuck one more point to it, so make it 28-10. So Maryland rolling along in pretty good shape right now with 1:43 to go in the first half. As they move 65 yards in 4 plays and taking only a minute and 6 seconds. 28-10, Maryland on hand, and really Maryland has taken advantage of some mistakes by Syracuse in the last 3 possessions. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Kane taking the ball to the far side of the field, can't find the handle, and they came right back to him at the 15-yard line. We're talking about that Syracuse last 3 possessions. An interception off of a Maryland punt, fumble, a Maryland touchdown, and a fumble, and a Maryland touchdown.
Now here's the fumble again. This time, luckily, Kane is able to get up, get that ball, and save a turnover. But the last time out against West Virginia, Maryland, or rather Syracuse, fumbled 9 times in the first half. That hurt them in a 16-13 loss.
Just over the 15-yard line. So we'll call it at the 16, 1st and 10 for Syracuse. They've got some catching up to do with a minute 38 to go. McPherson on the option. He likes to hang on to it himself. And gets it close to the 25-yard line, brought down by Tommy Parker. Now, offensive-wise, when you're thinking about the option, time-consuming, or you got to go to the air?
It's not a great comeback offense, let's put it that way. But they've shown that they can drop straight back and throw it.
Need 2 for the first down. McPherson out of the pocket now. And throwing it away. Actually had Grimes over there at about the 30, but on the run and throwing it out of bounds, incomplete. Scott Tye giving chase.
Well, had Grimes caught it, he'd have been out of bounds anyway. McPherson's got the quickness. He could have turned that upfield and got the first down himself. And that's the other thing about McPherson, Ray. You talk about the option attack. True, it's a slow offense to get points on the board in a hurry, but with McPherson, he's capable of breaking that big play at any time off a scramble.
3rd and 2. Syracuse 1 for 3 and 3rd down conversions this afternoon. McPherson trying to find somebody open. He decides to hang on to it. He's got the first down. Goes out of bounds close to the 30-yard line on the far side of the field. Shankweiler around his ankles.
That time, Maryland didn't keep contained. They're more concerned about the deep pass to Ciano and Schwades than they are McPherson. They'll allow the clock to run. 59 seconds left here in the first half. They just want to make sure they don't give up that big play. So they're backing off a little bit on the perimeter.
McPherson, story on his rushing department and the total of yards that he had. He was not getting a look into our camera, but looking over to the offensive coordinator on the plays they want run with 59 seconds remaining. And Syracuse in possession, 1st and 10. Play calls for a long pass this time. And going down the middle and incomplete. Intended that time for Jim Tate, number 88. Coverage was good by Maryland. 3 men going back deep. When you talk about that prevent defense, 8 for 13 for a total of 77 yards from McPherson and 1 interception.
Maryland's looking for Syracuse to go deep here in the closing minutes of the first half, so their deep backs are getting deep. They will not allow that big play. What they've got to do is try to get Schwades or Sieno free over the middle and let him run. Maybe break a tackle or two to get a big play.
2nd and 10 from Syracuse' own 30-yard line. Little swing pass this time out to his halfback, Abraham. Shy of the first down by about 3.5 yards, 3 yards. Fassett forcing him out of bounds along with J.B. Brown, the safety. So Al Covington getting a little rest right now. Independence Bowl coming up tonight. More action right here on Ms. Lou. Television Sports and USA. Clemson against the Gophers of Minnesota.
I'll see some option football in that one. Doggy.
Siano's put very wide to the left. Schwades wide to the right. McPherson, airborne again, this time goes over the middle. Completes his pass and goes to his fullback, Roland Grimes. Grimes fighting his way to the 44-yard line of Syracuse. Fassett and Kevin Walker in there on the stop. Syracuse calling for a timeout with 41 seconds remaining here in the half, and Syracuse has one more timeout remaining in this half. Maryland with a couple left. Dick McPherson with his quarterback, Don McPherson. So need a little magic here with 41 seconds remaining in the first half, and Syracuse trailing 28-10.
At this point, I think both Don McPherson and Dick McPherson don't feel too badly of the fact that they're behind, only because they've really given away 7 points on that touchdown by Scott Tye after he took the fumble from Scott Schwades. And I think they feel they can get back in this game in the second half. They'd like to get at least something out of this drive here in the final 41 seconds, even if it's 3 points. Bobby Ross, obviously, on the other side of the field, like to see his defense stop him inside, outside of his 50, so that he can make sure that they don't get those 3 points, because Syracuse might get a little bit of an emotional lift if they do get on the board and get back within striking distance.
Grimes and Abraham, the running backs in there for Syracuse. Syracuse with 11 first downs. Deep drop, and McPherson did not find anybody open that time. He had the deep drop, but that time Maryland on defense showing some pretty good speed coming in there. Chapman and Messner giving chase, and the first sack of the ball game.
McPherson would have had time if he'd stepped up in that pocket, but he kept backing away, and that allowed the defender to get outside and make the hit.
Down to 19 seconds. Second down. At 19. Completed now to the fullback, Grimes. And we get almost back to the line of scrimmage. Askew in there to bring down the Syracuse player. And Syracuse has asked for their final timeout with 6 seconds remaining. So while the remaining 10 Syracuse offensive men linger around the 35-yard line, McPherson, the quarterback, over there again to see what Dick McPherson, the coach, would like to do with the remaining 6 seconds. Story on Don's arm this afternoon, 11 of 16 for a total of 101 yards, 1 interception. Has ran the ball 11 times in addition to those passes. That is what referred to as a catch-up cheer, I guess. Terps like what they have going right now when they go to the locker room.
Well, down 18 points, Syracuse got to get some offense going, but they've showed they can move the football. Really, turnovers have hurt them.
Been quite a rivalry over the years. This, by the way, is the 30th meeting between these two teams, with Syracuse holding the edge, 14-13, and there have been 2 ties. 3rd and 9, 6 seconds remaining on the clock. And the long one from McPherson. Schwades going high into the air. Oh, great leaping ability. Keita Covington was over there to cover. And we'll see what happens when they unpile over there. Trips on that right side on a replay.
This kid, Schwades, is incredible. He goes down the field. McPherson again throws this one up for grabs. Schwades gets there with athletic ability, leaps up, and takes that ball right away from Keita Covington. What a great catch. That ends the half.
Yes, it
If they
does.
had a little extra time, they could have gotten the 3 points.
Exactly right. 42 yards on that long pass. It was a completed pass, but time runs out on the Orangemen of Syracuse. Our first half has been completed with the score reading Maryland 28, the Orangemen of Syracuse 10. Don't go away. We'll be back with our halftime activity.
Its founders had a vision of a tiny college for planters' sons. The University of Maryland, College Park today is one of the most comprehensive institutions of learning and research in the United States. For students in a changing world, courses of study mean important avenues for self-discovery. At Maryland today, the life of the mind holds opportunities that the founders never dreamed of. The University of Maryland, College Park, for the education of your life.
The National Association of Collegiate Directors of Athletics is an organization serving more than 2,000 members of the collegiate athletic community. Because its members share common problems and opportunities, NACDA conducts management seminars which focus on contemporary and long-range strategies. State-of-the-art business technology is keeping collegiate athletic departments in step with the times through NACDA.
Since 1870, Syracuse University has offered those seeking a higher education the opportunity to share in its rich tradition of academic excellence and diversity. Over 300 different programs are offered by the university's 17 schools and colleges. Many of the programs, including those of the Newhouse School of Public Communication and the Maxwell School of Citizenship, enjoy international reputations. Syracuse University, an education for a lifetime.
All set for the second half kickoff. Syracuse will be back at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, all set for the second half kickoff. Syracuse will be handling those kickoff duties. Meanwhile, the gigantic Cherry Bowl trophy, along with the Cherry Bowl queen, Shelley Wrights. Shelley out of the southwestern part of Michigan, Baroda, Michigan, near Benton Harbor, you folks, on the way to Chicago. Having a big afternoon. Story of that first half, Jim.
Take a look at the total offense. Syracuse leading 296 yards to 214 yards. You wouldn't think at this point, with those graphics up, that Syracuse would be trailing 28-10. But the key, turnovers. 3 for Syracuse, none for Maryland. Time of possession in Syracuse's favor. Actually, Syracuse done a good job offensively on the ground, better than I think even Dick McPherson hoped for coming into this game. But what he didn't expect were those turnovers and one gift touchdown that Maryland got when Scott Tye returned a fumble. He caught in the air for a touchdown as Scott Schwades fumbled a punt.
Well, you're talking about those turnovers, of course, and resulting in 2 quick scores by Maryland. Kida Covington, number 1, who was deep to handle that kickoff to get the second half underway, comes into chat. Meanwhile, Besley will be kicking off, number 17 for Syracuse. We'd like to remind you that at the conclusion of the game, the Michigan Sugar Company will award the MVP trophy to the outstanding offensive and defensive player of the game. And it will not be that trophy, however, unless you have an oversized truck. You'll have to turn it back in anyway. Vesling all set to kick it off now. And standing around his 3-yard line, number 1, Kida Covington. Our second half is underway. Maryland leading 28-10. At the 7-yard line, Kida Covington tries to get outside. Some good blocking in that forward wall. And busts across his own 30-yard line, close to the 31. 24-yard return.
Good field possession for Maryland opening up the second half. Take a look at this first series of the third quarter for Maryland. Key series for both clubs. Defensively for Syracuse, how they adjust to try to maybe force that man, Stan Gelbaugh, out of the pocket, put a little more pressure on him. and that may hurt their passing game some.
Tommy Neal, number 48, and Bedanek, number 40, the running backs in there. In behind Gelbaugh on a 1st and 10. And Bedanek trying to move outside, given chase by Rudy Reed, number 35. And Pina, the outside linebacker, showing some pretty good speed in pursuit. 3 yards on a carry, 2nd down and 7. And Rudy Reed, who led the Syracuse defense in number of tackles this year, ran second, had 152. Pigeon, his counterpart, with 162. 2nd and 7. Milling in motion from the right side. And he goes to Milling. Reed makes the tackle just shy of the 40-yard line. Shy of the first down by a couple of yards. 3rd and 2, short 2.
Good coverage by Rudy Reed as he had a wide receiver cutting across the field underneath him as he got his linebacker drop. Also, Gelbaugh was getting a little pressure as Syracuse played a game up front with their down defensive lineman.
Paul Frazee, nose guard, moves in and checking out David Lee. So a little more beef in that forward all on the short situation. Close to the first down.
Quick reaction up here by Rudy Reed. You know that they're in short yardage. Now Reed heads right to the line. Here he takes the block of J.D. Marlavelle, the All-American, gets off it and meets the ball carrier in front of the first down yardage. If they got it, Rudy Reed did a good job trying to stop him. It was just a good running of Bedanek. But they did get it.
Yeah, just did, right on the spot.
From that angle, it was hard to tell.
And Syracuse probably saying, well, you didn't do us any favors where you marked that ball.
Yeah.
The Orangemen trailing 28 to 10. Now Rudy Reed checking out the defensive alignment that the coaching staff wants employed against the 1st and 10 situation at the 41-yard line of Maryland. Terps on the move and in command so far in this ball game. Second half just underway. Faking the handoff now, and this time going to his running back Tommy Neal. Good speed, and Tommy getting deep into Syracuse territory, close to the 20-yard line, coming back and finally brought down by Mangrum. 39 yards on the carry by Tommy Neal. And Jim, you talked about it a little bit earlier in our telecast. Neal has been hampered with injuries this year.
Hampered with injuries, but I don't think he was hampered at all by this because he gets the great block by Marlavelle right there on West Dove. 73 just caves Dove down inside. That opened up the hole outside, and the rest of it was Tommy Neal. Using that great speed, there's a good cutback ability that all good backs have. Tripped up by his own man.
At the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. On the carry this time is Blunt checking back in and taking over for Tommy Neal. Gets a couple of yards in the process. Maybe 3 yards on the carry. Brought down by Kimmel, the tackle. For Syracuse, make it 2nd down and 7. Story on Blunt so far in this ball game. Start of the afternoon this season with a 4.8 average on the ground. Liking the game, but getting ready for the holidays. Blunt on the carry, another good strong block that time, and freed him and got him inside the 10-yard line.
Now the key to the play is the fact that Maryland is going with some misdirection. And the way to offset a quick defense is to give them some misdirection. They pull the backside tackle. Everybody else in the line of scrimmage leads to the left. The defense reacts that way, and then they give the ball to Blunt, who follows that tackle pull through the hole, gets good yardage.
Back with a Paul in there. Cherry Bowl time, and not too much to cheer about as far as the Syracuse cheerleaders. At the 6-yard line, 1st and goal. And looked too easy that time as Gelbaugh just stepped back and fired a pass, a touchdown strike to Abdul Rauf.
Now the key to the play was the fact that Rudy Reed didn't get back in his drop area. They were down close. They'd run the ball well. Reed was thinking, run. We got to stop the big run. Watch Gelbaugh. He'll just set back 3 times. He read single coverage on Rauf, threw it right over Rudy Reed. There you see Reed trying to run back to get in that coverage area. Had he been turning around, dropping back, backpedaling, could have got a hand up, maybe knocked that ball down. But he was too concerned with the run. He got out late.
Rocky to try for the extra point. You can see it from our end zone camera, right on the mark and doing the job. So Maryland going up on top now with a little more cushion. 35-10, 11:27 to go in the third quarter. Don't go away. So catching up to do now by Syracuse as they await the kickoff. That last scoring drive didn't take too much time, only 3 minutes and 33 seconds, 69 yards and 7 plays. While we're away for our commercials, this gentleman right here, Dick McPherson, called his entire team together in front of the bench, said, let's get some intensity, let's get going. We're involved in a rout right now, possibly 35-10.
Syracuse offensively going to have to get out and throw the ball around. I think we'll see Schwades and we'll see Ciano as we take a look at the Maryland scoring drive. We got a graphic up that says Orangemen. They've only scored 10 points. Maryland goes 69 yards, gets the touchdown. Now it's Syracuse's time.
The ladies kicking off. This one will be taken by Drummond at his 8-yard line. Straight ahead, crossing the 30, doing a little diving and pushing. And maybe down at the 33-yard line. 25-yard return. So where they mark it. Back at the 33.
He had lots of room to the outside. He tried to go back toward the middle of the field. And Ray actually ran into his own blocker. He might have gotten a few more yards had he broken toward the sideline.
Jim Brandstetter now trailing by 25 points. An option team. What does Syracuse got to do?
Well, you got to stay with the option some to keep the defense honest. But you got to do a lot of play action in this case.
So it's up to the quarterback, Don McPherson. Goes to his halfback, his tailback, Drummond, going straight ahead, shy of the 40-yard line. Almost a 5-yard carry. We'll mark it at the 38-yard line, make it the 39.
The only way you're going to stop big plays or make big plays if you're Syracuse on offense right now is you got to stay with the game plan because your big plays come off option play action fakes. So they've got to make Maryland respect that run yet.
Second and 4 for the Orangemen. Down by 25 early in the third quarter. McPherson trying to get a little time and getting a little pressure right now. Trying to find daylight and puts it up and incomplete. Chasing Bruce Messner. Intended for Jim Tate. Wobbly pass that time.
He had Tate open. He threw the ball. I tell you, McPherson is able to get out of a lot of jams back there using his feet. He's just so quick. He's able to avoid that rush. He might be the guy that is really going to make that big play off a scramble. Maryland has gotten to him just once, I believe, this afternoon. He's got the uncanny ability to sense when there's a rush coming from behind him, and he's able to move away from it. There he avoided about a 20-yard sack.
Watching Fossett here, of course, from Willingboro, New Jersey. Third down, excuse me. And over the middle, just about enough for the first down. As he goes to his fullback, Roland Grimes, brought down by Fossett.
Great job by Grimes. He got down to the first down area and then came back to the ball. Fossett, the linebacker, has coverage on Grimes. See him drop back, he drops back. He reacts up to the ball, but it was a good job of shielding the ball by Grimes, shielding his body, using his body as a shield against Fossett to make that reception to get a critical first down here for Syracuse.
And Syracuse now 5 for 7 on the third down conversions, 5 in a row on those third down conversions. They're going to have to go a little bit better than that and maybe not get down to third downs, but get some scoring on the board. About a yard on the play to the 45-yard line.
Up front, there we got a look at Bruce Messner. He's the big defensive tackle for the Maryland Terrapins. Went out with a problem in the first half. It appears as though that problem has come back again. He got to take care of it at halftime because he did start the second half. But here he is getting a little bit more attention to that right knee.
And came back before the first half was over. But we'll keep an eye and see if he stays in there. 2nd and 9. McPherson out of the pocket. Quick delivery to Schwittish. And nothing happens. Couldn't hang on to it. A difficult pass to really find the handle on.
They wanted to go to the tight ends, Tate, number 88, but Maryland has adjusted real well. They hurt Maryland with that pass in the first half, and this time what happened is Tate was held up at the line of scrimmage by the linebacker. He just wouldn't let him get off.
Well, you know, you were talking about the knee braces this year, and most of the colleges using them. You get an idea of exactly what it's all about, and the added weight that you're carrying with those.
But it's a preventive measure. His knee is maybe injured a little bit right now, but that is a preventive piece of equipment. All players wear it, whether they're hurt or not.
Facing third down conversion for the 8th time this afternoon on a 3rd and 9. McPherson needs some magic. You see him indicating go someplace, and goes over the middle. Good defensive work that time by Maryland, covering the receivers.
The receivers were scrambling around back there, trying to come back to the football because they saw McPherson in trouble. Give Maryland's defense a lot of credit back there. Their secondary stayed with them all the step of the way. And McPherson really probably could have gotten the first down had he decided to run, because all of the receivers were deep. With his quickness, he could have gotten the first himself, but he chose to pass.
Well, he tried to pass it to his running back, Drummond. Was incomplete. There's Keita Covington standing back at his 15-yard line. Fox just getting the punt away, and a flag goes down as Fox went to the turf. And we'll get a penalty. A scramble down there around the 9-yard line of Maryland. And Fox just did get the kick away. Contact was made, and that's when the flag went down.
Take a look. Fox with the left foot in the air. D'Amico, number 49, comes in. He is unprotected. He was not blocked into him. The left leg was still in the air. Little acting job by Fox, but the referee has to call it in that instance because the man that tried to block the punt was not blocked into the punter. If he is, it's a discretionary call by the referee. If he's not, and that punter has his left leg or the kicking leg in the air and he is hit, that's a flag.
Roughing the kicker on a defense, first down.
So the young freshman, D'Amico, is called for the infraction of the first Maryland penalty of the afternoon. The story so far, the infractions. 1st and 10. Break for Syracuse. Drummond on the pitch out. Going to his right side. Got about 5 on a carry. Brought down by Messner and Chapman.
Messner coming in from that. Boy, look at those knees on number 83. Both of those knees have big braces. They're taped heavily. Doing a good job moving to the ball. That hole was there for a moment. Fawcett in the hole held up the blocker, Grimes, and Drummond tried to follow him through, but Messner was there to make the hit.
You get an idea how tough Messner is. He has 113 tackles coming into this ball game, and compared to the other guys along that forward wall, 58 tackles, 69 tackles, 60 tackles, 2 for 1. Well, the mascot's having some fun down there. McPherson on the right side on that option play. Did not get the first down, maybe shy by a couple of yards.
Syracuse really is not altering too much from their game plan, and I think that's smart in this instance. They've got to sneak back into this game. And Bobby Ross, of course, would like to see long drives, probably. He'd like to see time go off that clock with the 35-10 lead, but Syracuse isn't panicking. That says a lot about this ball club, says a lot about their coach. He feels he can still get back in it, doing basic things and get lucky with a turnover here and there.
That clock reads 7:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. McPherson, following his fullback, has the first down. Good blocking that time. The hole was there on the left side, and just staying behind his fullback to get the first down.
Syracuse has really been able to get outside only once in this game, and that's because Maryland's wide tackle 6 takes away that outside play. They're tough against the perimeter. But McPherson's able to find some yardage up through the middle between the tackles. Fullback's been able to break a few. But they've got to keep running that option play, keep those linebackers in tight to the line of scrimmage to make Ciano and Schwedis open.
And a leaping ability. Schwedis was there but couldn't hang on to it. Keita Covington covering on the play. But I marvel at the way that he can get up into the air.
He almost had this. He made 2 catches like this in the first half. Covington is there. Now watch him react to the ball. Covington goes up, gets a hand in there. Schwedis almost makes the catch, but that's just great reaction by Keita Covington, who never really saw the football.
Now, we talk a lot about the intended receiver that time and his ability to leap, but the great defensive play by Keita Covington to cover him.
and they're covering those two wideouts for the most part, one-on-one.
The drive started at the 33-yard line of Syracuse. This will be the 11th play of this drive. Schwedey's on the reception, has enough for the first down, just outside the 15-yard line. And brought down by Keita Covington.
One of the reasons they're able to go to Schwedey's is because Covington has him one-on-one. They feel Covington is their best one-on-one cover man, so Schwedey's is over there. On the other side against Siano, they are cheating the safety, Al Covington, over to help out Brown, who is covering Siano. So Schwedey's is the man with the single coverage.
Now they split their wide, or rather their tight end wide. Here's Tate out to the left. McPherson finds something out of nothing that time. Looked like he was bottled up right at the line of scrimmage, maybe even a loss. It might have got a yard and a half, possibly two, and finally brought down by Walker at the set.
Syracuse coming with a formation looking like they're trying to spread Maryland out defensively, splitting their wide tight end into a slot back position, trying to extend that defense down here, expand it a little, and open the middle.
Schwedey split wide to the left side, second down and 8 from the 14-yard line. Seattle in motion, and this time Drummond got across the 15-yard line, might have tripped over his own quarterback's foot, but had a little problem getting his footing. And Fassett and Mesner will get credit for the tackles. Meanwhile, Dick McPherson needs some scoring in a hurry as this club is down 35-10 with 5:46 to go in the third quarter. I'm Ray Lane along with Jim Brandstetter. We're very glad you could join us for Cherry Bowl 2 from Pontiac, Michigan.
Nice to have you all along.
Third and 7. McPherson's pass intended for Siano, pulled off by Brown in the end zone. Another turnover, a costly one again, that time against Syracuse.
He had Siano open deep in the end zone. It's just that McPherson on the run from the blitz couldn't loft it up over the linebacker. So Syracuse turns it over once again.
For the fourth time this afternoon, the score reads Maryland 35, Syracuse 10, 5:19 to go in the third quarter. And we'll return after a word from our second down and 8. Badanic just carried for a couple of yards, first and 10 from the Maryland 20-yard line. So set it up now, Maryland. Second down and 8 from their own 22-yard line. The score continues to read Maryland 35, Syracuse 10. And a story which has to be heartbreaking for Syracuse. They hang on to the ball for 6 minutes and 8 seconds, 14 plays, and get nothing. And turn it over for the fourth time this afternoon. Gelbaugh with a lot of protection and a lot of time. Abdul-Rauf was the intended receiver. Off his fingertips, let him a little too much.
The Syracuse defense right now has got to make a big play in order to get them back into this football game. And this is where big plays by the offense can happen. Syracuse can gamble, come with a blitz, try to make a big play happen, and then Maryland can hit one on you. So it's got to be careful in this situation.
Mark it down on the calendar, January 18th, a 1 o'clock start, Eastern Standard Time. The North versus the South in the Senior Bowl here on Mislu Television Sports and USA. Third down and 8 from the 22-yard line of Maryland. 2 for 4 on those third down conversions so far. But they haven't had to worry about it. Little juggling act that time by Badanic. Hung on to the ball. The flag goes down in the backfield of Maryland at the 15-yard line. Rudy Reed pounding his way into the bottom of that pile. And also down there is Marcus Paul. Holding against Maryland.
It's one thing that can happen when you got a quick defensive team like Syracuse. If there's somebody sliding off a block on a play that develops a little slowly, you get an offensive lineman grabbing a jersey, and I think that's what happened in that instance.
Any surprises in this ball game, Jim, as far as either one of these teams?
I tell you, the surprise has been to me that Syracuse has been able to move the ball as well as they have against Maryland. It hasn't surprised me that Maryland has done as much as they have offensively, but you know, the turnovers have hurt Syracuse a lot. They'd still be in this ball game if they didn't turn it out.
On the offense, third down.
Now, when you look at this ball game and the statistics, in light of the statistics after it's over, and Maryland holds on to this big lead, I think it's going to be pretty even statistically, and maybe Syracuse will have an edge.
Third and 18 for Maryland at the 12-yard line. Gelbaugh back in his own end zone. It goes down the middle, intercepted by Reed at the 30-yard line, and triggers it down to around the 26. Rudy Reed does the job.
There's the big play Syracuse needed, and what caused it? The great rush, getting Gelbaugh out of that pocket, forcing him to throw on the run. Tim Green came through a gap in the middle and was held, but they didn't call it. But this is Gelbaugh on the run, throws it right to Rudy Reed. Should have never thrown the pass, trying to get it downfield, and Rudy Reed standing right there. Good job by the Syracuse defense. Now the offense has got to convert to get them back in it.
So they'll mark the ball at the 27-yard line.
Mansfield, we're coming back.
Whistle sounds. Timeout is called by Maryland. We'd like to tell you right now, time of possession, Syracuse, 22 minutes and 50 seconds, almost 23. And for Maryland, 18:09. So while we have a chance, let's listen to these messages. 35-10, Maryland on top of the Syracuse Orangemen. That's the time for our East-West Shrine Classic here on Ms. Lou. Don't forget the starting time for Eastern Standard. So Syracuse in great field position, a chance to see what they can do from their 27-yard line of Maryland, and Bobby Ross not too happy with that turnover by his Terrapins. Don McPherson trying to get something going into the end zone here on the way of points. 1st and 10. Little draw play going to his fullback, and on the carry, Grimes gets inside the 20, close to the 18-yard line. Up to that play, Syracuse with 336 yards in total offense. Maryland, 303, but the scoreboard reads 35-10 Maryland.
Good call by the staff up here in the press box of the Syracuse Orangemen. Draw play, 1st down. Maryland expecting them to go deep. Caught them napping a little, got 9 out of the play.
At the 19-yard line. Inched in maybe a little closer than that, but still a 19-yard line. Grimes again, stuck pretty good, but might have got enough for the 1st down as Pettibone, number 54, greeted him with that right shoulder. Got to get a measurement, I think. Good jarring tackle that by the interior linebacker. And if that name Pettibone seems a little familiar to you, it should.
Richie Pettibone, formerly great player for the Chicago Bears in the National Football League, now with the Washington Redskins and their coaching staff. That's his son. And the Orangemen of Syracuse do get the 1st down, so they can get back in this game. There's 3:13 left to play, 3rd quarter. They got to get in, though, here and get on that board, make it 17. They cannot settle for a field goal. They're too far out of it to get a field goal do them any good.
At the 17-yard line, 3 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. McPherson, following his fullback, gets outside. And touchdown, Syracuse.
That's the key to the option. You get the quarterback out there with that great quick feet. The cornerback had to come up and take the pitch back. They had a great block on the corner. McPherson turned it up, and I believe the Orangemen will go for 2 in this instance. Here's the option. The fullback comes up through the line of scrimmage. He makes the block on the corner, 48. He knocks Fawcett down. That's the key block right there. That allows McPherson to turn it up. The cornerback had come up to take the pitch back. Now we go for 2 points.
Attempt for the 2-point conversion. McPherson going over the middle to Schweddes, and they get the 2. Fired it right in there.
Hey, I want you to know what a great catch that was. That ball, Ray, was actually tipped at the line of scrimmage, and Schweddes had to react back up to it. What an outstanding receiver that youngster is.
So the drive covering 27 yards after the interception on 3 plays, a 2-point conversion. Score reverses a little bit more. Maryland still on top. 35-18, but Syracuse very much the adventures of the Dome Ranger.
I'll forget you said that.
Keita Covington at a 7. To the 20, gang tackling by the Orangemen. So Covington getting back to his 20-yard line, and Maryland will go on the attack. We are a little bit surprised in the last possession by Maryland, and with the lead they had, that they went to the air
Not really. That's the way they play football. They will go with a first down pass. They like to mix it up, run for pass, even, and I'm not surprised at all. That's the way they play the game. This is a key series defensively for Syracuse. They really have to stop Maryland here. Get that ball back in their offense's hand to keep the momentum, keep the emotion up.
2:44 to go in this third quarter. Maryland leading 35-18. Holder in motion for Maryland. Handoff going to Blunt. And a good job over there blocking up on the right side by Tim Pigeon, the linebacker. Still some yardage gain, about 3. Excuse me, Jim.
Pigeon filling the hole real well. The other key to that play was Timmy Green. He was out there, took the block, and just was able to get things done. There you look at the wristband of Syracuse quarterback Don McPherson. It means that when he goes in there, they'll give him some signals. He'll look at his wristband, tell him what formation to get into and what automatics to call.
Badanek on the carry. And Badanek wrapped up pretty good by Jerry Kimmel. Now, he's a sophomore talking about those plays on his wrist. Do you think he'll still be wearing that when he's a senior?
Oh, yeah. Coaches do not like to lose that umbilical cord. They want that quarterback under control. So coaches will have that wristband on there. And one guy in the truck asked us if he'd be all done if he lost that. No, that is permanently on his wrist. Coaches like to have that quarterback kind of under their wing. They want to let them know what they want to call because all those coaches up here in the booth can see what's happening on the field a little better than the quarterback.
3rd and 5 for Maryland. Holder in motion. Gelbaugh getting plenty of time out of the pocket now, and they're giving him chase. Got a good block there to avert disaster. And riding him hard into the turf was Mangrum, the cornerback, but really should not have got that kind of real estate 18 yards worth.
No, big play for Maryland there on a 3rd down and long. Gelbaugh, you know, when he came to Maryland, was a wide receiver at one point. Syracuse putting on a better rush, but number 94 lets contain be broken, and that is what allows Gelbaugh to get out into the secondary and roam free. Good runner, used to be a wide receiver, came in there, took a good hit from Mangrum, but got the first down. Big play.
Brought it up to his own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. And Blunt on the carry. Gets close to the 48. Flag down. Hey, hope you're having a good time here around the southeastern Michigan area. And holding called against Maryland. There was fun yesterday to have the Cherry Bowl brunch, and a lot of folks from both institutions, fans and followers and families on hand. And a lot of folks from Syracuse. They say, gee, the weather is just well, it's balmy here.
Took the trip to Pontiac, get out of the weather. Len Lynch, offensive guard, you just saw on the bench.
Holding on the offense. 1st down.
Lynch is the starter. He out of there right now, so they'll be using a backup for Len Lynch's position.
Richard Nelson, I believe, is checked in on that left guard position. Lynch, the young man out of Levittown, Pennsylvania. Or is that Halinka?
Halinka.
Yeah, Halinka's checked in. Started the season as a starting guard, right guard, now on that left side. Pass going to Blunt, flag goes down. Almost got up to the original line of scrimmage. Flag on this near side of the field around the 44-yard line, thrown down by the head linesman. Gardner riding Blunt out of bounds.
Interference against the offense. Maryland, you know, has done this before. They've had situations where penalties have put them in deep holes. Here they make a big play on 3rd down that Gelbaugh scrambles out and gets the first down, and automatically next 2 plays they get 15-yard penalties. It's just critical. Puts them back inside the 20-yard line now, and they're back where they started. The only good thing that's happening out of this drive, as far as Bobby Ross is concerned,
on the offense, loss of down, 2nd down,
is the fact that they're using some time on the clock.
Down to 28 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. The story of the penalty so far in this ball game through almost 3 quarters of play. If you just tuned us in, it's Maryland 35, Syracuse 18 at Cherry Bowl 2. Belly split far to the left side. Number 22 you saw up there for a moment. They started in motion now. Gelbaugh handed it off to his fullback, Bedatic. A flag is down again, thrown by the head linesman right at the 20-yard line. Not too far away from that line of scrimmage at the 19. Mangrum getting credit for that tackle. Backfield in that motion. By Maryland. Boy, they're on a self-destruct in this series of downs.
I had the ball out near midfield, and 3 penalties in a row have hurt them.
Just back inside the 15-yard line.
Illegal procedure on the offense. Second down.
Still second down, however.
This is that situation again, Ray. You forced the team, or actually they forced themselves with the penalties, to go to the air, go to the pass. If they can get Syracuse, Gelbaugh on the run, they might get him to throw another mistake. That's exactly what they're looking for.
Trying to get to the 46-yard line. Their own 46 for the first down. That time, Neal on the carry. And dancing his way across the 20-yard line. 9 seconds, 8 seconds remaining in this third quarter. We might have had our last play of quarter number 3. Syracuse fans outnumbering the Maryland fans so far in this ball game, but certainly not in the scoring column. And that is it. That is the end of the third quarter. Meanwhile, Bobby Ross wants his offensive unit to come over there, and he'll set up quarter number 4. While Maryland leads Syracuse 35-18 after 3 quarters of play. Yes, right back on the bench. That's where we ended up after that wonderful trip we had into the future. And into the future of the fourth quarter. Syracuse trying to get right back into this ball game. Maryland faced with a third and 32 from the lone 22-yard line. The Terrapins. Gelbaugh staying in the pocket, coming out now by a couple of steps. Going toward the sideline, and the reception is made by Abdur Ruff. Oh, that's his third reception, I believe, this afternoon. And that one is going to be a little bit shy of the first down. Needed 32 yards for the first down, got 28 out of it.
I'll tell you, that's still a big play for Maryland because they got out of bad field position. Now they'll force Syracuse to go the long way. Really not a very good pass by Gelbaugh.
Schwitty's back there deep by himself at the 10-yard line. And Darrell Wright to handle the punt for Maryland. Back around his own 36-yard line. The line of scrimmage right at the 50-yard line. Takes it around his 12. Boy, he can bring it back. He has brought 2 of them back for touchdowns during the regular season. A 38-yard punt. Schwitty's churning it back for a 21-yard return brought down by Lewis Askew of Maryland.
Schwitty's has great speed, 4.4 speed in the 40. Fastest guy on the Syracuse squad. And he's got those moves that he can make on the run, and he forces people to miss. That's why he's such a great punt returner and a great threat.
Through 3 quarters of play, Syracuse with a total of 363 total yards, Maryland 334. Keep in mind, Maryland averaged 405 during the regular season, Syracuse 250, so they are over the mark. And coming through is Drummond, just pounding his way straight forward, breaking it between tackle and guard, and straight ahead over the 45-yard line to the 47 to 14-yard gain.
Well, they loaded up outside. Maryland had coming with a blitz from the outside, expecting Syracuse to go to the option. Watch the double fake. Fake to the fullback, holds the linebackers. The fake man blocks the linebacker, and then the great speed and running power runs through a tackle. And Drummond gets good yardage.
Scott now Covington in on that tackle at the 47 of Syracuse. McPherson over the middle to his fullback. And inside the 35-yard line, scampering Roland Grimes out of Forestville, Maryland. Brought down by Walker and Covington.
This is kind of fun. Syracuse getting back in this game and doing it the smart way. They're not trying to go deep to Schweites because they're covering him with 2 people now. Siano on the other side's got big coverage, so if the linebacker's going to drop deep, just dump it off to a fullback about 10 yards deep in the backfield and let him run.
20-yard on that passing combination, gained that time by Syracuse. 13-17 remaining in this ball game. McPherson on the keeper, fake to his fullback. cut it to the right, and Walker brings him down. Got a few yards out of it, maybe 3.
Maryland is still not allowing McPherson and the Syracuse option to get outside.
McPherson has carried a total of 18 times for a total of 99 yards. And if you want to look at this ball game, turnovers been very critical. 4 by Syracuse, 1 by Maryland. And the passing department, that's a story of McPherson. A lot of time. Now there's no time. Walker coming in around the ankles and bringing him down.
Play action held him only so long. That play was caused by the great coverage in the secondary by Maryland, because McPherson had plenty of time to throw the football. Play action held enough people, but the secondary backs had Siano, Schwades, and the tight end Tate covered.
Second sack on McPherson this afternoon. Going back to the third quarter, we're down to 12-10 remaining in this ball game. Maryland and Syracuse almost even in place. Maryland 14 and Syracuse 17. Siano split wide on the left side. 3rd down and 18. Pressure again, released in time, but no place to go with it. Schwades for the intended receiver, and Ty was really giving chase to McPherson. Not much you can do on those, Jim.
Ty, coming from his tackle position, got outside, and he forced McPherson toward the sideline. He really had no other chance. Now Dick McPherson, the head coach, trying a long field goal.
This will be a 59-yard attempt by Don McGauley. McGauley's longest of the year, 49 yards. He's 17 and 23 for the year. On the mark, but he's going to be shy by about 10 yards. So, a little dice work that time, trying to get a few points, but it couldn't happen. With 11:44 to happen, McGauley misses on the field goal attempt. So the score remains Maryland 35, Syracuse 18. On Clemson and Minnesota. 8 p.m. later tonight, the Independence Bowl on Mislu and USA. Maryland with 11:44 to go in the ball game, leading 35 to 18. The Terrapins with that 8-3 record coming into Cherry Bowl 2, and Syracuse 7-4. Badanek and Blunt, the running backs, in behind their quarterback Gelbaugh. Blunt on the carry. Might have got a yard out of it. And the All-American Tim Green around the legs that time to bring him down.
Timmy Green doing a good job reacting back. He was going toward the flow. That misdirection play had him going toward the left. But when he saw that pulling tackle come across his face, he reacted back out and got a piece of the ball carrier after only a yard gain.
The Terrapins. And right now in pretty good shape, score-wise. 35-18. Story on Blount and his work in the ground this afternoon. Holder in motion. And Gelbaugh rolling out of the pocket and completes it to Holder that time into Syracuse territory around the 42. 14-yard gain. Mark it at the 43.
Maryland now going to the rollout with Stan Gelbaugh to buy him a little more time to throw.
Gardner in on that tackle that time, but not until after the pass was completed. 1st and 10 Maryland at the 43 of Syracuse. Pitch to Blunt. Crosses the 40, 39-yard line. Lee in there. And also one of the big linemen, Wes Dove, Kimmel also.
Good block on the corner by Rick Badanek. Badanek, you know, we talk about him as a great runner. There is Rudy Reed, and Badanek knocked Reed down to allow Blunt to get that yardage. You know, Badanek has been named to the All-American blocking team. That's how good an all-around back he is.
Chris Knight, the tight end on the left side. Badanek going ahead for 2 or 3 yards that time on a 2nd and 3. 3.5 yards to go for the first down. Call it 3rd and long 3. Badonic and Blunt in that pro set. To hold her off his fingertips, strictly a sideline pattern, showing great speed. Good quick release that time by Gelbaugh.
That was an out and up pattern, and Holder did a good job. He got Mangrum thinking out pattern, and they turned it back upfield, and the safety was late getting over there. Paul, but Gelbaugh just overthrew him. Maryland turns the ball back over to Syracuse. An opportunity for Schweides maybe to get something done.
Schweid, or rather Wright, gets the kick away. Got a little twisting punt that'll roll out of bounds close to the 9-yard line of Syracuse. So deep in the territory of the Orangemen, a 27-yard punt that time by Wright. And so it'll be Syracuse coming to the line of scrimmage with 9:03 left in this ball game. Trailing, however, Maryland by a score of 35-18. Don't go away. More action coming your way. 3 seconds to go in this ball game. Repair time for the defensive unit. Maryland on top of Syracuse, 35-18. And Syracuse with a long way to go from their own 9-yard line. So the Orangemen have a lot of work cut out trying to get something going here with 9:03. Certainly their head coach, Dick McPherson, realizes the struggle lying ahead in the remaining 9 minutes. Shiano in motion for the Orangemen. And Drummond on the carry. Busted right up over center. Gets close to the 18-yard line. By the way, at the conclusion of the game, the Michigan Sugar Company will award the MVP trophy to the outstanding offensive and defensive player of the game. And before we leave the air, we hope to have that announcement for you. Got 8 yards on the carry. 2nd and 2. McPherson fakes to his fullback, has the first down, and gets close to his own 30-yard line.
Once again, you see Maryland against that option. They're taking away the pitch. They will not allow him outside, and McPherson's able to make yardage up through the middle. Watch Maryland's defense. McPherson takes a look down there. He sees nothing outside. Got to turn it back. Now, there's good yardage back up in there. But when you're trailing 35-18, you'd like to make the big one and go the distance.
Tate now, the tight end, shifts over to the left side. And McPherson goes to Tate. A nice reception. Cradle that with one arm and gets very close to the first down. Bailey covering on the play for Maryland.
Play action once again. They tried that play in the 3rd quarter, and Tate complained that he was held at the line of scrimmage and wasn't able to get out of there. On that play, he was able to get off the line of scrimmage. The linebacker didn't hold him up. That pass will be open off that play action about every time.
Need about a half a yard on a 2nd and very short. Schweides in the slot on the left side. Seattle, the other wide receiver on that left side. Instead, McPherson carries, tries to cut it against the grain, and just tripped up after he got the first down. 21 carries by McPherson for a total of 110 yards. So he has been the leading ground gainer of either of the two offenses.
But we haven't seen McPherson make the pitch to the pitchback yet today. That is showing you how concerned Maryland is about that wide play. And McPherson's done a good job with it, but been able to really contain him to a degree.
Orangemen at their own 49, 1st and 10. And McPherson to Tate is tight end. Made the reception at the 45-yard line of Maryland. Tried to do a little prancing and dancing, but was hauled in by Facette along with O'Brien Alston, both linebackers.
Maryland is allowing Syracuse to get that pass underneath, the short pass, because it's taking time off the clock on this drive. They're just taking away everything deep from Schweides and Siano.
2nd and a long 4. That's Siano, split wide to the left side. Schwitties on the right side, wide. Down and out to Siano, and out of bounds. First down, and driven out of bounds by Donald Brown. 9 yards on the passing combination.
McPherson shows you his strong arm on this play. Straight 7-yard out pattern. Siano drives the cornerback off, squares that cutout. The ball's in the air already. Reacts back to the football and gets as much as he can and gets out of bounds to stop the play. Stop the clock.
So Siano now with a total of 98 catches in his career for Syracuse University. The most ever. First and 10. McPherson heading for the corner. Schwitties, the intended receiver. Keita Covington going into the air this time and beats the Orangeman. Comes through with the interception. The 5th turnover by Syracuse.
Keita Covington having a great day. He had Schwitties one-on-one. Did a great job, stayed right with him. Schwitties tried to get behind him, but Covington was with him all the way.
So it's a little bit of gloom over there at the Syracuse bench right now. Syracuse trails Maryland 35-18 and just 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the game. I'd like to remind you, though, that Saturday, January 11th, 4 p.m., the East-West Shrine Classic. The Pontiac Silverdome with 6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in Cherry Bowl 2. And right now, a little bit bleak for Syracuse Orangemen. And some of their fans beginning to make their way out of the Silverdome after that last interception, the 5th turnover of the afternoon by Syracuse. 35-18, Maryland leading. Badanik and Blunt staying in behind Gilboa as the running backs for the Terrapins. And Blunt on the carry. He was 95 yards on the ground going to that one, and mark him down now over the 100 mark, 101 and 19 carries. So we got a couple of players over the 100-yard mark today. Blunt of Maryland and McPherson, the quarterback for Syracuse, with 110.
You see Maryland keeping on the ground, ball control, enemies the clock at this point, not the Syracuse Orangemen.
2nd and 4. Edmonds, the tight end, the man that was in motion. Blunt, the tailback on the carry. Did not get the first down, and in there to wrap him up was Tim Green along with Rudy Reed.
Timmy Green is so quick. Came off his tackle position, got down the line of scrimmage and made that hit on a play really on the guard of the opposite side that he's playing.
Let's go! Go, go!
3rd and 3. Good fake that time by Gilboa. Play action and fires it to Milling. And completes it and goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line. A gain of 20 on that pass.
Not only play action, but a rollout to allow Gilboa a little more time. Milling just drives the cornerback deep, fakes the post cut there, then backs it out to the sideline. Gilboa right on target, tough pass running to his left, throwing the ball to Milling right on the numbers.
Gilboa 12 of 18 for a total of 206 yards in the air, 1 interception, and throwing for 2 touchdowns so far this afternoon. 4 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in Cherry Bowl 2 with Maryland in command. Blunt trying to get outside and is stripped up. Well, it's been a big week here, Cherry Bowl week, leading up to Cherry Bowl 2, and we would like to thank the Cherry Bowl staff, Donald Hackworth, the honorary chairman, General Motors Buick Motor Division, Frank Muddy Waters, the executive director, Mike Mills, the director of communications and marketing, and of course the members and board of directors of the Michigan Cherry Committee. 2nd and 8 for the Terrapins at their own 41. Just playing out the clock right now with 4:11 to go in the game. Badanik working on the outside, some good blocking, and Paul over there to wrap him up. but not until he got very close to the 50-yard line. First down for the Terrapins. Well, we're very glad you could join us for our telecast at Cherry Bowl 2 today, along our Ms. Lou television network, as well as USA. I'm Ray Lane, working with Jim Brandstetter, and Jim, it's been fun again.
Thank you, Ray. I've enjoyed it. It's always nice spending the holidays with you.
3:43 remaining in this game. Scriber on the carry that time. Might have been the first or second carry for Scriber. First carry. Reserve fullback in behind Bedanek. Although once in a while this season when Blunt has had some bruises and Neal has been out with a bad leg, Scriber has been in there as a running back on occasion. Slot on the left side for Maryland on a 2nd and 7 from the 48. Gelbaugh. They'll do Ruoff. And that's slow, little play, slow developing, really. Did a 180 after he made the reception, and by that time it allowed the defense of Syracuse to move up and brought down to the 45-yard line of the Orangemen.
And a good job by Marcus Paul. He reacted up real quickly to that screen and was able really to turn Raouf back inside toward the pursuit.
The youngster from just outside Baltimore with 5 receptions and 86 yards and 1 touchdown pass this afternoon. 2:23, and clock is ticking away. Gelbaugh taking plenty of time. Maryland leading 35-18. And that one going to Tommy Neal, the running back. Just a little quick toss over there, found some daylight, and finally brought down by David Lee along with David Holmes, but he was doing the juggling act all the way.
Well, he was. Gelbaugh getting big pressure here from Timmy Green. There you see 72 coming in picture. Neal finally got a handle on it after about 40 yards, and then coming back to make the hit. Holmes was surprised a little bit that Maryland's throwing the football at this point.
Well, they're thinking about the trophy, thinking about the holidays, and how quickly they can get home. Al Covington with the ice bag there, pulling off. 1st and 10 at the 32 of Syracuse. And Blunt inside the 30, close to the 29-yard line. Our thanks to Syracuse University's athletic director, Jay Guthelmel, and Coach Dick McPherson, the sports information director, Larry Kimball, also the University of Maryland AD, Dick Dull, Coach Bobby Ross, and the SID, Jack Zaid. Our statistician, Jim Schneider, and Mike Swanson. We appreciate both gentlemen's help this afternoon, and our spotter, Greg Lay. Thank you to the gentleman in the booth. Thank also our media broadcast head man, Bob Lipson, that got us in the booth.
Thank him, Ray.
Blunt waving his way down to the 20-yard line. Some fancy running and some good leg use that time. Finally brought down by Cooper Gardner.
Good block also by Tony Edwards. That tackle pulling from his backside tackle spot really kicked out on the defensive end. Kimmel and was able to create a hole that Blunt got through as Bobby Ross will celebrate a victory in Cherry Bowl 2 with his Maryland Terrapins.
Blunt with 23 carries and 116 yards now, and that 1 touchdown rushing. And Maryland with just 36 seconds remaining in this one. Blunt going again. Daylight might get there. Desperation tackle at the 5-yard line. Gardner again wrapping him up. And 29 seconds remaining. So he's now got 130 yards on the ground. And 24 carries.
They're bringing in the goal line offense with this 35-18 lead. I'm a bit surprised. J.D. Marleville, the big All-American offensive tackle, comes back in the game. And I believe they'll just take a timeout right now, and they're going to unload the bench for this Maryland Terrapins team.
They got it down to 9 seconds. Clock was a little bit slow stopping there, and I thought, oh, they're going to go again, but we still got time for you. 9 seconds to go in this ball game. Maryland 35, Syracuse 18. And we'll be back after a word from our local station. 122 yards and 1 interception and 2 TDs. As Maryland just goes back and Bobby Ross decides he don't want to rub any salt into the wounds. So Gelbaugh, the offensive most valuable player, and Cherry Bowl 2 has come to an end with Maryland winning this afternoon by a score of 35-18. So while Gelbaugh takes that offensive MVP trophy, Scott Shankwater is a defensive MVP. We'll be right back after these words. Cherry Bowl 2 is history now, and for Maryland, 35-18 over Syracuse. Jim Brandstetter, story really, maybe it was the first half and the turnovers.
First half and the turnovers, most definitely. The Terrapins took advantage of the Syracuse turnovers, and that pretty much was the story.
And we'll talk more about that game in just a moment. Look into the future with General Motors. We don't have to look into the future for the final score of this ball game. Maryland now with the victory, going up with a 9-3 record to close out the 85 campaign, and Syracuse finishing things off with that record of 7-5.
Well, you know, in this game, I think Syracuse was good enough to win, Ray. They offensively did a great job against Maryland, better than I had expected. Defensively, I think they're a little disappointed in their performance against Stan Gelbaugh. If they'd have put a little more rush on Stan Gelbaugh of Maryland, I believe they could have made some turnovers happen, maybe got back into the game. But really, it was a surprise to me that Syracuse did as much as they did offensively.
And as we talked about earlier, right here on USA, and of course Mislu, later tonight, Clemson Tigers taking on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. These gentlemen made things possible here on our telecast this afternoon. I'm Ray Lane, and speaking for Jim Brandstetter, thanks very much for joining us for Cherry Bowl 2. The final score, once again, Maryland 35, Syracuse University